today's brief video, I want to take some time and talk about one major problem that I ran into when I was struggling with pornography addiction. And I have a feeling if you're watching this and you're struggling with that, it's probably going to relate to you too. If you're new to the channel, my name's Dr. Frank. I'm the founder of AddictionMindset Recovery Coaching, programs dedicated to helping people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content, things that I once struggled with. The major problem that we run into with porn is every time we watch porn, porn releases dopamine. Just by watching the content, we get a flood of that neurotransmitter dopamine. And I think in many cases, whether you're browsing pornography on your computer or if you're browsing porn on your phone, if you're anything like myself, chances are you wouldn't just land immediately on one video. You would kind of surf through a number of different videos or through a number of different previews for each of those videos. We know that watching porn releases dopamine, okay? And dopamine, it's a neurotransmitter that makes us feel good. And every time our brain releases dopamine, it's reinforcing that behavior over and over again. Here's the problem. When we're browsing across a bunch of different videos, or let's say you have multiple different tabs open with something different in each tab, right? A different category of adult media content in each tab. You're now flooding your body with dopamine. And dopamine is meant to come in little drips. This was said by the founder of Amen Clinics, amenclinics.com. Great website on addiction recovery. They do brain scans of people and stuff with this. Really interesting. Anyways, we want to drip dopamine throughout our day-to-day activities. We don't want to create a flood of it. And when we're surfing across different adult media content channels, or when we're surfing through different style videos, different categories of videos over a period of time, we're not dripping dopamine, we're flooding dopamine. And porn is particularly exciting to the human brain because we can create a sense of novelty with just pulling up a different style video. So Monday night, you're watching this category of adult media content. Tuesday night, you're watching this category of adult media content. Or Wednesday night, you're combining 3 different categories of adult media content. This creates a sense of novelty. And every time there's a novelty, something new, our brain drops more dopamine. So now we're getting dopamine from watching pornography. We're flooding dopamine into our brain from watching different types of videos over a prolonged period of time, keeping the floodgates open. Dopamine is supposed to drip into your brain, get used up, and then be gone until it's needed next time. Porn creates the floodgates for it. Not a good thing. And then we're going a step farther by constantly getting this source of novelty. And then, of course, we eventually come, in most cases, to the point of orgasm, which also releases more dopamine. So there's not a lot that competes with pornography as far as dopamine release goes. Maybe drugs like cocaine and methamphetamines and some things like that. But I'm going to argue porn is probably pretty high up on that scale. Now, this is a huge problem. And this is where I started to notice big changes in my anxiety levels, especially when it came to social anxiety, and when it came to my motivation to do stuff overall. And mind you, many times when I was watching adult media content, I was also potentially chewing tobacco or consuming nicotine, more dopamine, and I was smoking weed, more dopamine. So really digging myself into a hole there. Now what happens? You wake up the next day to go start your new job. You get involved in a new relationship. You buy a new car. And it's just not that exciting. There's just no joy in it, even though you should be excited. And the reason for that might be related to viewing frequent pornography or frequently viewing pornography. Because if we set that threshold so high in our heads for dopamine release, using pornography and potentially pornography in conjunction with alcohol or weed or nicotine, when you go to do something and you get a little drip of dopamine, your brain's going to be like, What the hell? I don't care about this. This isn't worth anything to me. Go back, watch porn, do something more exciting. Flood me with dopamine. And that's one of the major problems with porn. Now, the good news is your brain can heal. And most gold standard when it comes to pornography and healing is about 90 days. That's usually the gold standard. But look, it's going to be different for everyone. Some people might start feeling better after 5 days to 2 weeks. Some people might be in a battle for 90 to 120 days. It depends on the amount of effort and work that you're putting in, I think, greatly to feeling better. So even though you don't want to work out, because working out gives you, a high amount of dopamine, but not as much as watching porn while you're stoned, is that person continuing to show up at the gym? Is that person maybe working on therapy? Is that person doing things throughout the day to drip dopamine and help their brain heal and help reinforce positive behaviors, healthy behaviors? Or is this person just white knuckling it the whole way as they're trying to quit? That makes a big difference when it comes to someone's recovery journey from pornography addiction. And I think the more work you put into it, the better outcomes you're going to have. And another tip on it for those of you guys who are quitting, the more you're being challenged to quit, the more you're kind of suffering, which you're really not suffering when you're quitting. You're actually suffering while you're watching porn and staying addicted. Addiction is quite literally the definition of like live suffering. Just know this is a clear sign that your body's healing, your brain is detoxing, and things are trying to get back to where they need to be. So don't freak out when you experience that. Hopefully maybe this points out some problems in your life with social anxiety or depression or that overall lack of motivation that you might have been experiencing. Who knows? Maybe the hub or red tube is to blame. Why don't you follow me into the next video where I talk about a pornography symptom withdrawal timeline? I'll see you guys there.